friends, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm guessing today's video is far from what you expected from me, but I promise I have a full explanation at the end of today's video. First, I have a little bit of a haul to share with you. All right, let's get into the haul. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I'll explain here in a little bit, but I also have a bit of work to do and you're gonna go along with me for this entire ride. Okay, 2 cans of mixed veggies, 6 cans of green beans, 2 cans of garbanzo beans, 4 cans of refried beans, 2 cans of kidney beans, 2 cans of great northern beans, 4 cans of pinto beans, 4 cans of chili beans. Side note, the ones in tomato sauce, I love, they're so good. 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 2 cans of black beans. Also, another side note, I haven't been to Winco Foods in a year. A story for another day. A large tub of peanut butter, 2 containers of whole quick cooking oats, 2 containers of mashed potato flakes, 2 packages of garbanzo beans, and these are the 1-pound packages, a giant bag of pinto beans, 4 pounds. I got this for a steal. This is weird coming from me, I almost bought 4 of these. I decided to just get one. There was only 4 in stock and I can't be that person. 2 packs of lentils, stone ground mustard, sweet relish, dill relish, and 10 pounds of rice, which this was so inexpensive. I paid like $5 for this. So, okay, there you have the entire haul. Now you're probably thinking, what is going on? This is not the Miranda we know and we love, or we just hate watch. Anyways, I have to get this back to its place. Well, it was hanging out in the garage. We need to get this all set up and I'm doing that with you guys. Hello. Okay, this is the shelf that I need to organize right now and get my food somewhere. I'm thinking here, or somewhere over here. We have these containers. This is just short term. I have a long-term plan. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I keep saying that, but I'm just going through the motions right now, and then I'll sit down and talk with you because I feel like that's the best way to do things. So I'm just gonna get to it. Well, hello. Let's talk about this while I am kind of stocking up my garage. So let me know in a comment below if you're completely shocked that I am putting up this style of video, because I am still shocked editing this video. And I will explain everything. I sit down at the end of this video and just tell you everything, but I'm really enjoying building out my emergency pantry with you, just kind of showing you everything that I'm doing. And we're going to talk about cost. We're going to talk about what my goals are, what the inspiration is behind this. We're going to talk about all that here in just a few minutes, but I thought it'd be easier to just sit down and talk to you about it versus talking to you about it while I'm stocking everything. And this is a very temporary situation. This might be like this for 6 months to a year in the garage. So I'm going to package my items differently. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you do for your items and how you pack them and any ideas that you have of things that you store in your emergency pantry, because I know people will be looking for ideas and it'll be really great to read all your comments and see what you guys have to say. Thanks so much for leaving a comment for me. Okay, you can see in this box, I just filled it. These are not going to stay this way. I'm actually going to get a vacuum pack sealer. I know, who am I? Or jars. So they're not going to stay like this just because I live in the desert and I know things will get through these bags. Same with these. These are sealed up pretty good. And then my cans all lined up here. This one I'll eventually fill up. This one I'll fill up. And then I made space on this shelf too. So I'll have 1.5 shelves worth of stuff. And this is just like collectibles of my husband. Probably shouldn't be in the garage, but it's in the crate. Anyways, I'm not gonna tell you what's in everything. But I have like another half shelf-ish to go. So this is just the start. Anyone want to guess what I spent before I tell you on all this? You should drop me a comment down below. I know I said I would probably never do this. I know I said I would never have a whole room stocked with food, and I nearly guarantee that I never will. I also want to say quickly that this was actually not my idea. In my deepest heart, in all of my soul, I am an extreme minimalist. I am someone who would thrive living day to day, buying only what they need for one day, planning out the whole day, and then restarting the next. Like, ever seen the movie 50 First Dates? Like, my OCD, ADHD, everything inside of me wants to go to the grocery store, get everything I need for just one day or 1 week. That would be like the most, and just like everything is planned. So knowing that about me and me saying this was not my idea, but I'm helping with it, is the difference between me and my husband. I always say, like, I'm the planner, which I am when it comes to, like, when we go on a trip. I like to kind of plan out every single hour of what we're doing, and he's like a free spirit. But it's almost reverse in our lifestyle, our daily life, where I am not necessarily more of a free spirit, but I don't like a lot of stuff. And that personally just stems from my childhood and how I grew up. My parents are both huge collectors, and so I grew up in a house with a lot of things, and I think you can really see it in my own home. I mean, I don't have a lot of home decor or a lot of things on the walls, or really every single room isn't like filled up, because I feel like because of how I grew up, I'm like the exact opposite of that. So this was my husband's wanting, if you will. He one day said to me, I think we should build an emergency pantry. We have a really big house, we have room for it, we have the means for it. So we actually are going to build out our under the stairs closet, I guess, and we're going to build it into a large pantry. So this is just basically a way to start stocking up a little bit. We don't really know how much we're going to stock. We're thinking just like a couple weeks worth of food, but it's not going to be much more than I really have right now, maybe about double. As you saw, I left space in our garage so I could add a little bit more, but really it's just to have a bit of things on hand, and I'll explain in a little bit what I'm going to add to that. So he expressed to me that it's something that he really wanted to do, and so I had a little time this week and I went to the store and I wanted to see what I could buy for about $75. Now in total I spent about $70 and some change, so let's round up and say $71, and I feel like I got quite a bit of stuff. He got home from work, he saw the load in the garage, and he was so happy. So he's actually at work today, otherwise he probably would have helped me with all of this, but he's going to help me obviously with the pantry that we're building out. Like, we're gonna hire a contractor, but the designing of it, and then moving into what we would consider like phase 2. By no means are we in a predicament where I feel like we live in emergency status. Like, if you are someone who obviously lives in extreme weather conditions, you probably have these things on hand already. We don't, but again, it's just, I feel like we're kind of moving into a different spot in life, and he just wanted to have these things on hand, and as a supportive spouse, I was like, okay. And I thought it would be really genuine to come and to film this and to share my whole process with you, because it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 phases. So if you are someone who is looking to build one on a budget, here you go, you can do it alongside me. I feel like I have a huge advantage though, because my sister is a major prepper. Like, you guys, when I say that, you know, some things here and there, like goofily about, like, I have, you know, people in my life that have like a lot of food on hand, they're not offended when I say it. So when other people who don't know me are offended, I'm like, I'm just joking, it's not a big deal, you do you. My sister has a massive garden, she has a massive food stock, and she does great at rotating it. So I just kind of pegged her with a lot of questions and was like, hey, I just want to start this, here's what my thoughts are, and she gave me a lot of really helpful ideas. So I feel like I have like a professional, if you will, to kind of bounce my ideas off on what I want to do and, you know, building in the future. And yes, we did have the same childhood. Since I kind of brought that up, I did want to kind of continue with it. But she kind of remembers different parts of our childhood, where I feel like sometimes you know, depending on which sibling you are, she's the oldest, I'm the second, is what things you remember. She remembers a lot of times the struggle in our childhood. My parents weren't well-to-do, but she kind of remembers like the struggle of not having food more than I do. And so when she got married, she became a really big prepper, had a big garden, and just really stockpiled food for her family because she never wanted them to go without. Plus she does live in an area with extreme weather conditions. I don't really remember that as a child. I just remember there just being lots of stuff. So it's interesting for me to think of how two people were raised in the same house and how it affected them differently, if you will. But I mean, my husband is completely different childhood than me, and he is someone who just wants to be prepared. I did want to include some tips to doing this on a budget. I personally don't need to do it on an extreme budget, but obviously I budget for everything because that's just who I am in my life. But if you are someone who needs to do this on a really strict budget, I would recommend doing this $5 to $10 a week at a time. And you're probably thinking that will take me forever. But if you just did it at $10 a week, it would literally take you about a month and a half to stock up to what I have now. And if you're someone who is living paycheck to paycheck, just to say like, hey, you can utilize your local food pantry a couple of times if you just kind of need to lean on them a little bit to kind of free up some room in your personal grocery budget, or to just stockpile a few items. It's not something you have to do all the time, but if you need to lean on them a little bit, and it might ease up about $30 in your budget if you were to go to them once a month, and then you can kind of flex your money, if you will. So that extra money is going towards a little bit of a buildup just so you have what you need on hand. I think that's personally really doable. I volunteered at our local food pantry in 2021, and they loved when, you know, there was 1,000 cars in line, when there was 1,500 cars in line. The more people they had coming every single week, the more food they were able to get. So it's not like they ran out and had to turn people away. They never turned people away. And the companies that they worked with for donations, as long as that was like going up every single week, they were able to donate more. Hopefully that makes sense. So you're like, in my area, you're never taking from someone else because there's always donations to back that, personal and companies. But if you think of it as just building a little by little, I think it's really helpful. I think a lot of times for me, I've watched a lot of prepper videos and it's just so extreme. I watch people buy $1,000, $1,500 of groceries at a time and then like put it all in their house. And again, I'm just someone who just like doesn't like a lot of stuff on hand. It kind of really bothers me. And then I think like, how are they keeping track of that? With my daily life, daily activities, my work life, that is just too much for me to take on. And then I think just like putting out a video like that, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 worth of food that you bought, one, you're kind of making hiccups in the actual food chain cycle because grocery stores buy based on quarters from last year, quarters from this year. And that's why we've had so many hiccups since 2020, is because the food chain was essentially broken so many times. I mean, think of the toilet paper shortage. Then I think of when someone who doesn't have the means to spend that kind of money to build out a prepper pantry, how they must feel. They must feel like, oh my gosh, like this day is coming, I'm not gonna have any food for my family, and it's like a sense of panic. And I just feel like that is just a negative kind of like a harsh thing to put out there, and personally it doesn't sit well with me. It's not how I plan, it's not how I do things, it's not how my mind works. So I was hoping just doing things small steps at a time. Maybe this will take me 4 months, maybe it'll take me 6, maybe it'll take me a year. Maybe that will help you guys when you are considering building your own, seeing that I'm doing it slowly, I'm doing it little bit by little bit, and it's not super overwhelming. I really wanted to touch on how I'm purchasing and rotating my current stock. So let's talk about rotating first. So the first thing I did is, because I am a little bit of a scheduler, I went through and wrote down everything that I purchased and the expiration dates. And because I do YouTube, I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for me because I have those things on hand that I can use in upcoming videos and kind of plan around it. But also I'm the type of person that really loves to go to the grocery store based on the meal plan I make for the week. So I can sit down and be like, ooh, what do I feel like eating this week? Versus opening my pantry and being like, none of this sounds good. So it's kind of like double fold as to why I don't like to purchase a lot of groceries. But I thought going through and making an Excel sheet of all the items I have, all the things that, you know, I need to use first, kind of like first in, first out, scenario, if you will, for my pantry, but then also seeing the expiration date. So about once every other month, I'm gonna go through and kind of do a full pantry video and use up some of my stock, and then go repurchase more stock of what I used. And when it comes to purchasing my stock, I was thinking of low maintenance foods. Originally, I was gonna go with things that really I didn't need to boil water for, but then I was like, oh really, I'd end up with canned items. But I thought low maintenance, I guess, if you will. Rice is a little bit higher maintenance. I am gonna get some pasta, but I'll order that on Thrive Market. We are gonna get some water to have on hand. But again, these are all just things that I need to consider using every single month, so that way I can continue to rotate it in. And really, I'm probably just going to add about $100 to my personal grocery budget every single month and just kind of purchase items here and there. But when I think of emergency food, when I think of what am I going to grab for when it comes to an emergency situation, I'm probably not going to grab for the beans I need to make. I'm probably not going to grab for the rice or the pasta. I'm going to grab more of the quick oats that I can just like make really quickly and think outside the box. And maybe I have to boil the water on a fire pit. This is just not me, but if it came to it, I would do it. Mashed potatoes are easy, and I even purchased some vegetables because I feel like that's just who I am. Maybe in the future I'd be like, that's silly, we don't need those. But also thinking of meals, I saw a meal idea from someone on TikTok, and I thought that's genius, because their brain works the way mine does. A can of chickpeas, some mustard, you add some relish, and you put it on saltine crackers. And I was like, okay, low maintenance food ideas is just what I was thinking. Because if I don't have electricity, I can't boil water because we run on gas here. Wait, no. You have to have electricity to have gas? No, you just need electricity for electric stoves. No. Anyways, you get where I'm going with that. But adding to it, I'll probably add about $100 a month until I have about a $400 stock, I would say, ish. And then I'll rotate through it every single month doing like a pantry video, and you'll be really lucky to see those because I'll have a lot of ingredients to use, and they're all like staple me ingredients. So that's about it. I do want to quickly say, if you have a tip, leave it down below, because I know people will be looking for tips. And if you are someone who has an emergency food pantry, I'm sure people would love to read through the comments and just kind of see, you know, what information you can give them as well. I'm just a beginner. Like I said, I'm just taking my sister's advice, and she's been doing this for 15 years. So she's given me a lot of feedback. I did kind of mention when it came to the items that are in the garage right now, I'm going to jar most of them, seal them, or vacuum seal them in thicker plastic bags, just because we live in the desert and we do have bugs here. We spray for bugs, but you just like never know. She also gave me a tip, my sister, that if you put the rice in the freezer, it can kind of kill everything. So I'll do that for a week. I'll put the rice in the freezer before I vacuum seal it. Same with the beans, just to niche everything out. But I'll do that. And then probably do the same for the oats. She gave me a lot of information on that. So again, I don't really think that's like necessary, but some people put this food in their basement or in their garage. And until we have our pantry kind of built out the way we want it, I do want to make sure everything's like sealed and not going to waste, because I hate food waste. So anyways, I hope you really enjoyed this video. This is gonna be a little series here over the next few months. So I hope you subscribe and follow along. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.